Hello, my name is Sergey Gasparyan. I'm from Synergy International Systems, a GovTech company working in more than 80 countries worldwide. In this particular video, we are going to take a look at one of our flagship solutions, the aid management system, commonly known as the Development Assistance Database. The Development Assistance Database, also known as the DAD, has been implemented in 37 countries, helping ministries, government representatives, external stakeholders, and of course, donor organizations manage development funds and monitor project execution. This particular version of the system is using the latest Synergy IDM 8 technology based on microservices architecture. In this specific demonstration, together we will see the version of the system that was developed for the government of Cameroon. Our cooperation with the Ministry of Economy of Cameroon began in 2009, and at that period, we were using the earlier version of our technology, Synergy IDM 6.5. As the technology evolved, we worked with the ministry on the upgrade of the system, and today you will see the result of this change. Now, let's have a short overview of the system. This is the main landing page of the Development Assistance Database for Cameroon. It is very important to note that the user interface, but also the input texts, are in two languages, English and French. There is a public access, which means that citizens or other users that are not yet registered in the system, with a click of a button, can open some parts of the publicly available dashboards. This means that they can have direct access to the data on development efforts in the country without becoming a user. Now I am logged in as an administrator, which means that I have nearly complete access on all the modules available in this version of the system. On the left, we can see the other areas of the system, such as the analytics with different pages for dashboards, and below we have the settings. These are the tools to manage the system, and usually the administrators are able to do full management of the system without involving the developers, which means that we have low-code configurators in every part regarding data management, security management, monitoring, and overall administration of the system. On the top bar, we see that we have access to our user profile, system notifications, the possibility of changing the language of the system, and also direct access to all the manuals of the system. This is the module on financing agreements or financial conventions. And in the case of Cameroon, these elements are used to manage the funding part and generate the funds to manage the development project at a later stage. So this is why we will start with financing agreements. This is the list of all the financing agreements available in the system, with a possibility of filtering by their stage: request for financing, negotiation, submission, and so on. Also, we have the button to create new financing agreements, as well as advanced filtering to find the specific one based on the filtering criteria. By clicking on the specific title of the financing agreement, I can directly open the relevant data entry form. To make sure we don't disclose any confidential information, some parts of the data that you see here in this example were changed. This is the data entry form of financing agreements. And here we're capturing critical information on those documents. Let's open the editable version of this form and see what we have here. We have the agreement name, the relevant reference number, funding type, funding organization, the agreement amount, the relevant government contribution, description, notes, and other information. In this version of the system, the primary currency is the Central African francs, which means that when we need to use a foreign currency, we need to specify the exact rate and the date. For example, we have an agreement amount of 42.5 million euros, and we can specifically see the corresponding amount in the local currency, as well as the date and the rate that was used for that calculation. In other parts of the form, we are able to specify the specific project that this financing agreement is going to fund. Later on, we will specify the cooperation framework relevant to this financing agreement. We can specify all key dates regarding this specific financing agreement, such as the date of funding request, the approval date, end date of negotiations, date of signing the agreement, effective start date, and specific disbursement deadlines. In some cases, there can be exceptions, and we would need to add the prolongations by a list. Finally, we can have the area of attachments where we can collect the electronic copies or official letters regarding this financing agreement. After saving the form, we can see this little element that we call a subway map, where we are able to see the exact stages that have passed, who was the user that initiated that action, and what was the past time after executing the required stage. To continue the workflow, we're able to go to actions and, let's say, advance this financing agreement to monitoring agreement execution stage. Coming to development projects. Similarly, this is the list of all the development projects, either draft, planned, approved, or ongoing. And we can use the same tools to search and filter the project that we want to open and work on. And let's just take a look at one of the examples. This is a test project that was created for this demonstration. We can see the tabs such as General Information, Organization and Contacts, Financial Information, Monitoring and Evaluation, Paris Declaration Indicators and SDGs, Notes and Attachments, and Activity Log. Under each tab, we have specific sections of the form, such as project details, let's say the abbreviation, reference numbers, the relevant financing agreement that you saw previously that is linked with this project, which means that the funds for this project are coming from that financing agreement. Later on, a very simplified project timeline as start date and end date and relevant duration. The breakdown of project's impact on different sectors, and here we have sectors, subsectors, and the percentage of their impact with this breakdown. Similarly, we have project locations, and we can see that this project is not nationwide, and it is linked to two communes, Yaoundé 1 and Yaoundé 2, with equal distribution. On the top, you see the same subway map, but now with different stages. We have draft, planned, approved, ongoing, and so on. And we can see that last time this action was done on June 13 by Synergy Administrator, and the past time is 94 days. Later, in more advanced modules of the system, we can configure automatic actions based on the time that has passed here. For example, send a reminder after 30 days to this list of users with the following message, which means that we can make different automations and not only have a database of the projects, but a management system sending required notifications and doing automated actions for different users. Let's move to organization and contacts. These are very straightforward tables to capture information on funding agencies, first-level implementers, second-level implementers, and government counterparts. If we are talking about aid management, we need to speak about financial information. And this particular tab is all about the financial information of this project, of the development project. All right, first we have the project cost. This is the initial understanding of the cost of the project, which later on can be changed, but depending on the case of their government, they want to have a separate line for project cost. Later on, we have the table on agreements, financing agreements, and also disbursements. You can consider financing agreements as commitments. That is the term widely used in the overall development financing domain. So here, we have both the financing agreements, the relevant amounts, and the disbursements from each financing agreement. In this case, we have one financing agreement with the amount of $125,000 and relevant disbursements in local currency, and in some cases, we can also have the disbursement made in foreign currency, but in that case, we need to specify the exchange rate. Later on, we can add expenditures by first level or second level implementer organizations, or write down the information on the government contributions. Now let's move to monitoring and evaluation. Here we have different activities, like 2 activities, relevant outcomes, and potential risks and factors that are causing delays. It means that people who are involved in the implementation of the project, if they identify any problematic aspects, they can add that information in the system. Later on, the hierarchy would be notified and they would have a strong proof of documenting those problems. Next, we have the tab on tracking the impact of the project on sustainable development goals, and its link to Paris Declaration indicators. We are able to add the relevant SDG goals here from the drop-down, or specify our responses or the official take on Paris Declaration indicators for this project individually. And lastly, we have notes and attachments where we are able to specify the required project amendments, specific project notes, and of course the official documentation of the project. Development partner profiles. This is the list of all development partner profiles that are conducting certain projects in the country, and here we have breakdown for all of them, be it a bilateral organization, multilateral organization, development agency, or an NGO. We have all of them here. And this is how the main form of the development partner profile looks like. So we have the text information, we have information on their offices, and specific information on points of contact within that organization. This means that after handover of information from one employee at the ministry towards the other, the information would not be lost because it's already documented within the system. Going into the sector profiles, we have the most important sectors as a list here with key information about every sector, such as the sector policy, source of funds, which agency is responsible for the activities in that sector, and of course, contact information. Reporting and dashboards. Finally, we have a chance to create reports based on the data that is available in the system. Thanks to Synergy IDM8 technology, we have different reporting widgets, and me, as an administrator, without any coding, I can generate the required reports, I can create dashboards, and also export that information and send it to relevant stakeholders. And I want to find the project in this sector of infrastructure. When I click apply, all the other remaining widgets, including the cards and including the table, are updated, and they will show me only the projects that are linked with the sector of infrastructures. Same goes for pie charts and histograms. When I click edit on the right, I have reporting controls. I am able to go down to required area, select the type of widget that I want to add as a pie chart. I drag and drop it in the main area, and then I start the configuration of this pie chart. I choose a data set, I choose the measure, let's say number of projects. And now I need to choose the category, project location by region. Let's add a title. I can work on the design, make it maybe wider, and I can save it. Later on, I can export the whole dashboard or this specific report in different formats, such as PDF, Excel, Word file, and based on the system type, we have many other supported file versions as well. There are still many more interesting sections to be shown from this particular version of the system. In the coming future, we're going to show you other successful implementations in the domain of public finance management using Synergy IDM technology.